Welcome back, everybody. It is 4/22 Sunday, 2018. It is 9:40 a.m. A little bit of a late start today. I'm off work today, thank God. It's been a very long week. You are looking at a tropical intensity index chart right now. This is KLY Strong .9, Channel 9 news station. Sorry, let's just say that. Spectrum News 9. I use this chart, as well as many other people who use this chart, to give an idea of where the most common areas or the most favorable areas for hurricanes to form in the eastern Pacific or the Atlantic Ocean. And right now we have a high favorability right off the southwest coast of Mexico, down basically parallel with the Caribbean, a little bit more south in the gap between Cuba and Cancun, Mexico, and then we get up into the Gulf here. But I want you to check something out. We got something showing up on Tropical Tidbits. Could this be a season where our first hurricane happens in the East Pacific? Now, here are our names for the East Pacific 2018 season. It would be Hurricane Aletta, and then Bud, and then Charlotte, Daniel, Amelia, Fabio, Gilma, Hector, and so on and so forth. And then we also have names for 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. That is the same for the Pacific season as well. We have the Atlantic season. We have those names as well. The first name of this year will be Alberto, and then Beryl, and then Chris, and then Debbie, Ernesto, Florence, Gordon, Helena, Isaac, Joyce, Kirk, Leslie, Michael, Nadine, Oscar, Patty, Raphael, Sarah, Tony, Valerie, and William. Those are our 2018 hurricane names. By the looks of this chart right now, although it is a little bit far into time, we don't have any two-day trajectory looks. They're not calling for any activity in the next 48 hours. That may change, because right here is what we need to look at. Let's check it out on Tropical Tidbits. Now, you're going to notice we're going to be all the way into May 4th and farther by the time we see this storm, so a lot can change. Let's get that out there right now. We talked about that all last season. When you see anything about 5 days out, you need to take that with a grain of salt, because it's very hard for these charts to predict weather outside 5 days. Can they? Absolutely. Have they? Yes, they have. They've also been completely wrong. So I am not here telling you there is a hurricane forming in the East Pacific Ocean. I'm telling you that Tropical Tidbits is showing atmospheric conditions to where one is very likely to form in the next 2 weeks. So let's take a look at it. We're on the GFS chart right now. We got that high pressure bubble going on in the Atlantic Ocean, but where we want to look is right here in the Southeast Pacific, or more so the East Pacific than anything. Southeast Pacific would be down more to the west coast of South America. But let's move forward into time here. Keep an eye on the date, April 21st. That was yesterday. We're also going to talk about the system moving west to east across Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and then through Florida, Georgia, and then up into the Carolinas. Monday, excuse me, Tuesday, Wednesday, possibly Thursday, affecting the Northeast. We'll talk about that briefly too. But this is mostly about what could be potentially the first hurricane of the Pacific season as well, the East Pacific season. So here we go. We're getting into April 25th now. We're not going to see this until May. Let's move forward. May 1st, May 2nd. Now look at these lows bouncing back and forth. At any point, even before this chart actually, or before this date arrives, something could happen here in the East Pacific, and we could also get something to flare up here in the Atlantic Ocean. You're starting to see moisture systems rather coming off the west coast of Africa, and they're starting to swing down, and they're starting to stay in shape. Rather than it just being a bare blue color here, you're actually seeing these green colors. The moisture systems, they are finally making their way from the Cape Verde Islands, even though they're not hurricanes or tropical depressions, these are certainly moisture systems. And if one can make it, a lot can make it. And that's what we need. We need a grouping of storms to finally cause a tropical depression. Then that tropical depression gets stronger, becomes a tropical storm. And then after tropical storm, we get our Category 1 hurricane. That's the beginning of it. And then we go all the way up to Category 5. A lot of you that were with me last year, you were very aware of what a Category 5 hurricane is and what it can do. We are all getting much more knowledge about these storms with these charts we can use, with the information we can share with each other. It's like the sky's the limit right now. But you can see this little green thing comes right off here, the west coast of Africa, and then boom, it gets caught right in the belt. Picture this as a spinning wheel, okay? This spins clockwise. Our hurricanes spin counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere. So anything in the northern hemisphere in the Atlantic Ocean is spinning counterclockwise, as well as the East Pacific. Same exact deal. Now we're going to move forward here. You can see that big moisture system popping up and then moving into the Leeward Islands and then up into, you got Dominican Republic, all sorts of things in this area. Puerto Rico, and then we got Cuba, and then Cancun. We got the Bahamas here, we got Florida here, and then the Gulf of Mexico. But again, we are looking down in this area. Let's get on with it here. As we get into May 3rd, May 4th, there we have it. By May 5th, guys, we have a disturbance that pops up to the south of Mexico, almost getting into the South American strip here, still parallel with the Caribbean. And as we get into the May 6th is when this low takes shape. Now I want you to focus here on what days happen here. So there we have 995 pressure by May 7th. And then the last bit of data is into May 8th where we have 983. That looks like a pretty solid shape right there as far as a possible hurricane. You could check some of these numbers here to see what they predict the pressures will be. All sorts of cool things you can do on this website here. But there you have it, guys. There's 983 pressure. It looks like it's going to get stronger as time goes on. Again, this is May 8th. So, yes, lots of time before this could happen. We could have a disturbance in the Atlantic Ocean before this happens. But nonetheless, this is the first sign of a hurricane that we have had this year. So I think it was important to bring this to you guys to show you. And there you have it right there. Low pressure, 983 in the East Pacific Ocean. Could be our first of the season. It is not being recognized yet on the 48-hour mark because this is a good 2 weeks away. But the main point of this, guys, is to show you that we are dealing with conditions that are favorable for hurricanes now. That's what we need to understand here. You can see the average temperature of the waters now, 82, 80, 80. This belt right here, as long as this belt is 80 degrees, you can assume that all the water around it is also 80 because it's only the surface of the water. You go down 10, 12 feet, it's a lot cooler, but that will not affect a hurricane. Only the surface temperature is what you need to look at, and we have high surface temperatures going on right now. Let's see what else. Let's take a look at this moisture system we're going to be dealing with between a lot of states, actually. So let's go back to tropical tidbits. Sorry about the jumping around. Okay, here we go. Let's switch our region here. For those of you that don't know how to do this, this is how you do it. We can go to the Continental US. We got GFS up. Good. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're dealing with here. This is the system now. It's actually kind of departing. Oh, no, never mind. We got to get to the 22nd. How about that, Bri? Okay, here we go. This is the system. Centered low pressure, currently over Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, kind of edging Kentucky and Tennessee, if you can see what I'm talking about. And then we got Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and the Panhandle of Florida next. So as we move closer and closer to the 23rd, Monday, here's Tuesday. And then Wednesday is northeast time. So you can see how this thing crosses over about 8 to 9 states before it actually makes it to the Atlantic Ocean and kind of dissipates. So we're talking about some severe weather between Alabama up through Tennessee. You can kind of count Kentucky in there by Monday. And we're talking tornado weather too, because if you notice this thing's spinning counterclockwise, you get a west to east shear wind that's constantly there. Tornadoes sprout up all the time. We've had a busy season so far with tornadoes, guys. So let's check out our detailed water vapor chart here. Let's back up and see where this thing's originating. You can see that counterclockwise spin clear as day. It's big low pressure. This was when it was over Texas, making its way over Louisiana and Arkansas, now into Mississippi. And you can see those deep green colors. Just match it over here, and you could tell that that's high rain rates right there. So that's Tennessee and Kentucky getting poured on right now. And the northeast corner of Alabama is getting hit hard, and the entire north side of Georgia as well. And then this is going to move into the Carolinas, and eventually it's going to start swooping up into the northeast. Now there could even be snow associated with this in the northern areas of New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and up into Maine near Nova Scotia. Anything south of that more than likely going to be a rain issue, but we will dig into that later on today, guys. I'll be making videos throughout the day. We have our first possible hurricane for the East Pacific Ocean. And you bet your bottom dollar that we're going to be following that nonstop. So I just want to bring that to you guys. Hope everyone's had a great weekend. Again, I'm off today. I will be making videos, so you will hear from me again shortly. All right, guys. Talk to you in a few hours. Take care. Bye-bye.